Hello everyone, welcome to my channel IT Sector Tales. In this video, we'll learn how to display all list elements using a for loop, and we'll also use list to store all of the user inputs. So let's get to it. Okay, so first we will use our length of the list to display all the items in the list. So let's create a function called print list using length. Okay, and in this we will create a list. The name of the list will be friends, and we will just have our elements in it. As obvious, the name of the friends will be Rachel, Phoebe, Monica, Ross, Chandler and Joey. So we'll use a for loop. We'll have for, and I'll use the variable I, and I'm going to use the range function. So now since I'm using the length of the list to determine how many elements are there in the list, I will use it inside the range function. That is, I'm calling another function from the range function. So I'll use len of friends, and then simply I'll print the index, whatever index we have. I'm using the concatenate operator, so I'll convert I to str. Index will be the value of I, and this will be in my list. Friends is, and here I will just print the element of that particular list. Okay, so let's call this function and let's run it. So it displays the index from 0 to 5. The len function will return the value as 6, but the range starts from 0 and it is less than the number which is mentioned as the upper limit of the range. So the for loop will move from 0 to 5 and it will display all of my characters from the friends list. Next, we will print all our list elements using an enumerator function. So enumerator is another function by which you can iterate basically from all your items in the list. So I have this function and I'll use the same list I used earlier. In fact, I'll copy this entire thing and just use iterator in case of len. So I'll remove this len function, and instead of this I will use the enumerator, and here instead of I will use two variables, index and item. So it is enumerate. Okay, so this enumerate function will iterate through all of my items in friends. So index will be str of index, and the item for which I want to display will be stored in the item variable. Okay, so let's run this program. I've called this enumerator function and let's run it. Yes, so from the enumerator I get the same list as before. So there are two options by which you can display all of your items in the list, the length and the enumerator. Now let's move ahead to the interesting part where you are accepting an input from the user and you will add all those inputs in a list. So for this I will write another function called adding user input in list. Here I will have a list called friends and I'll keep it as empty. Then I'll use a while loop because I'm expecting some user input. So I'll do an infinite loop and I'll add a break statement in the console itself. So I'll mention the user to enter the name of the friends, and if the user doesn't wants to stop, then he can simply press the enter key. So here I will ask the user to enter a name of a friend, and if the user doesn't wants to enter anything or he wants to stop the program, he shall enter nothing. or simply press the enter key. That's one and the same. And also I'm displaying the length of the list, as in when the user enters the name, I will increment the length of the list by 1. So right now the list of friends is 0, the length is 0. So I'm saying enter the name of the friend, and this is 0, so it will be friend 1. So right now the list is 0 and I'm asking to enter the name of the first, and when the while loop iterates again, then the name will be added to this particular list, and then the length will be 1, so 1 plus 1 will be 2, and then I will ask to enter the name of the second friend. So it keeps on iterating. Now whatever name is entered by the user, I will store in the name variable. I'll use the input function to read it, and I have to add the terminating point for this particular loop. So if my name is empty, then simply break, and if my name is not empty, then I shall add it to the list. So friends will become whatever is there in friends plus a list which has one item in it, which is the name variable, whatever the user entered in the name. I can also do something like this: friends dot append name. Okay, so there are multiple ways by which you can add that particular entry which user just made to the list. So right now I'm using the above method. I'll comment this particular thing here, and after the name is added in my list, I will simply mention what name is added and what is the the intermediate value of the list after adding this particular input. So what I'll do is I'll mention the entire list simply by giving the name of the list. And after my while loop is over, that is the user must have pressed an enter key, I will print all the value of the friends. So I will use this particular print statement, and for printing the list I will use for I in friends colon, and I'll simply print the value of I, which will be the name of the friend. Let's call this function and let's run it. Okay, so enter the name of friend 1 or enter nothing to stop. So I add Rachel. So it displays after adding the given name, the list is Rachel, and it's asking me to enter the name of the second friend. That is, it incremented the length of friend, which was 1 to 2, and asking me to enter again. So I enter Phoebe. So the current list now is Rachel and Phoebe, and it's asking me to enter the third name. I enter Monica, and then I enter Ross, Chandler and Joey. So the list is full now. It has all the name of the friends, and it's asking me to enter the 7th name. I don't want to enter it, so I'm just hitting the enter key. So after hitting the enter key, it will display the list of all friends which I've entered. So let's run this program again, and here I will use only 1 or 2 names. So I'm using Rachel, I will enter Phoebe, and I enter Monica, and then I don't want to enter any other name. I'll just hit enter. So the final list of friends will be Rachel, Phoebe and Monica. So this is how you accept the input from the user and you just add it in a list using a while loop. So hope this video was useful. Thank you everyone. So please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.